The algorithm really doesn't like it when I do mythology videos. Hello humans, my name is Dale Kingsmill. I want to tell you today about the Norse creation myth. It's odd because if I tell you the story of the Greek creation myth or something, I usually skip the weird bits about, the cosmic egg and the snake and the bird that kicks the snake in the face, and skip to the story, the coherent story part. But with Norse, it's a little bit, it's all weird. So let's get into it. So we start out with basically just 3 parts to existence. There's Niflheim, which is made of ice and poisonous frozen rivers and mist. It's all misty and mysterious even. And there's Muspelheim, which is
all on fire
and just
terrible.
Surt is already just hanging out there with his flaming sword waiting for Ragnarok. He just already exists. Don't question it, he just does. So you got Niflheim, you got Muspelheim, and in the middle there's this space. It's called the Ginnungagap, which means the yawning void. So it's a good name. It's a good name, can't deny it. Now the interesting thing is that we've got this glacial creep of ice from Niflheim and the searing heat from the flames of Muspelheim, and so in the middle where they meet, they kind of cancel each other out in the Ginnungagap. And through that interaction, the fire and the ice begot a drip of water, which splattered down into the yawning void, and it fell into the shape of a person, and this person was called Ymir. Ymir was just impossibly huge. We talk about giants within Norse mythology. If you've ever seen my video about Thor going to the city of the giants, we're talking very big, right? Ymir, so much, many times larger, unfathomably large was Ymir. Actually, I love this part of the story, because if you're reading the Prose Edda, in order to get the creation story kind of in one full telling, you end up with this weird thing. It comes in the form of a game of questions. It's a classic trope of Norse myths, in which someone has to prove their wisdom by asking or answering questions, and both of those things can prove your intelligence. And if you ask a question that the other person can't answer, then you're the smartest, or if you know the answer to every question that the asker asks, then you're the smartest. It's this game of riddles, basically. And in this particular telling, it kind of ends up being like talking to a 5-year-old who just is so curious about everything. The whole way through it'll just be like, but if Ymir is a person, then how did they survive? Oh, well, another splat of water landed in the shape of a cow, so you've got a cosmic cow, and it's got milk, and Ymir drank the milk from the udders of this cosmic cow. But if there was a cow, then how did the cow survive? Oh, the cow survived by licking the ice, because there was salt in the ice, and so it survived on the salt. And it just keeps going like that. So anyway, we've got Ymir, impossibly huge. While Ymir sleeps, this is where we start getting real weird. Not even the cow. While Ymir sleeps, their armpits get sweaty. And from their sweaty armpits come giants. From their left armpit come girl giants, and from their right armpit come boy giants. Mummy, how are giants born? Well, also there are some giants that come from Ymir's feet, and they've got 6 heads. I don't have the answers. That's the giants sorted out, but where do we get people and gods from, right? The cosmic cow is licking that ice, and on day 1 of licking the ice uncovers a man's hair, and on day 2 of licking the ice uncovers a man's head, and on day 3 had fully freed this man. I would love to understand, how is his body the same size as his head? We can only hope. The guy's name is Bori, and he's extremely handsome, and is probably, I guess, the source of the term cowlick. He's not. I made that up. And Bori begets Bor, who begets 3 sons. You might recognize at least one of these names. The eldest son was Odin. His younger brothers were Vili and Ve. Now the 3 of them, these 3 brothers, they decided that they were going to make a world here in the Ginnungagap, because there's nothing going on. There is nothing to do. And they're like, you know what we should do? We should make a world and become gods. But, as previously noted, There's nothing in the Gununga Gap. There's nothing there. So, what could they possibly make a world out of? Well, they decide that the only thing here big enough to make a world from is Ymir themselves. So, the three brothers go ahead and murder Ymir. Just really murder them hard. We are told in the story that Ymir was evil. I haven't seen much evidence, but that's what they say. They say Ymir was evil, and now they've got all this sweet, sweet material to work with. They use Ymir's flesh to make the earth. They use Ymir's bones to build mountains. Let's see what else we got. We got, stones and gravel and sand were made from Ymir's teeth and their extra bones that were ground up. Trees were made from their hair. Ew, gross. This, it must have taken a little while because there were maggots in their rotting corpse that became dwarves. So that's fun for them. Love being a dwarf. 4 of these dwarves are used to hold Ymir's skull aloft to make the heavens. The dwarves' names are Northern, Southern, Eastern, and Western. That's where we get the cardinal directions from. Each of the dwarves holding up the skull, and the sparks that rise from Muspelheim and float over the Gununga Gap, they make up the stars on the inside of the skull. And I thought, oh, that's neat, that's cool. Oh, that's a nice little throwback. I bet that the clouds will be made of the mists from Niflheim that we've heard so much about. Nope, those are Ymir's brains. Odin and his bros took the brains, threw them in the sky, and they float about, thinking evil thoughts. That's what clouds do. They think evil thoughts. It's canon. But, very important to a seafaring culture, Ymir's blood, as they were stabbed, gushed out and became the seas, and rushed out in such a wave, in such a torrent, that they swept all of Ymir's giant children, swept them away, killed them all, except for one whose name was Bergelmir. Bergelmir? That's what I have written down, Bergelmir. Bergelmir and his wife survive Noah's Ark style in some kind of a floating wooden vessel. It's a little uncertain. Could be a boat, could be a coffin. Whatever it was, it floats. So now, since the giants have survived this great calamity, the gods, Odin, Vili, and Ve, there's kind of an expectation that they provide somewhere on this new world for the giants to live. So the giants are given the coastlines. Ooh, they inhabit the coastlines. And actually, speaking of coastlines, this is how we end up with people, mortals, alright? The three brothers were wandering around their world and noting that there weren't enough beings to appreciate this space that they'd created. And they were wandering along this rugged beach when they came across these huge driftwood logs. One of the logs was from an ash tree and the other one was from an elm tree. And the three brothers were struck by the image of these two trees lying next to each other on the shore. And so they stood the two trees up and carved them in the likeness of the gods themselves. He carved them ears so that they would be able to hear, eyes so that they could see, and mouths so that they might speak. Next, Vili gifted the two intelligence and emotion so that they would be able to think and to feel. And finally, Odin, Allfather, breathed life into the two logs and turned them into the first human beings, named Ask and Embla. They went off and had lots of little human babies. But oh no! Remember those giants who were all murdered and then lived on the coastline? They're still kind of PO'd about being all swept away in the flood. The gods are like, whoops, okay, turns out the giants pretty hostile. Maybe we should do something to protect our new humans. And so what the gods decide to do is they'll build a protective wall around the center of their world out of whatever is left of Ymir's body. Their eyebrow hairs. Got a protective wall of eyebrow hairs. Ooh yeah, baby. And so this section in the middle of the world that is protected from the giants became Midgard. The world that you and I inhabit today. I mean, really, the story has everything. It has dramatic imagery of floods and trees brought to life, all the way to the other end of the scale with cosmic cows and eyebrow walls. What more could you possibly ask for? I hope that you enjoyed the story. If you did, I'm doing the YouTube thing. I really am. I'm doing it right now. Leave a comment about your favorite of the Ymir body part constructions. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. I have a Patreon, I have merch. I exist on other social media platforms. Is that it? Is that all the YouTuber things that I have to say? I think it is. Apart from that, I do believe that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma, and I'll see you some other time. Ha! I bet you didn't think I was gonna come in from that side, did ya? Pew pew!